Hey, what's happening, y'all? Rome here. So, right now I want to talk to you guys about a little game that you've probably heard of. It is called Clank in Space. Now, when I first played Clank, or when I first heard about Clank, I should say, I wasn't too big on the hype. It didn't really seem like it was going to be my thing. Now, after watching a bunch of videos and after hearing everybody's thoughts and everybody's opinions on it, I sort of changed my tune on that and I checked it out. Now, Clank is super fun. It was a nice little gateway game. I wouldn't call it a filler. It played too long to be a filler. And I think that was my big downfall with that game, was that it just played a little too long for the depth and complexity that you got out of the game. I also didn't like that there wasn't a lot of ways to trash or to get rid of your starting cards or your base cards. So with Clank in Space, it is now a gamer's game. There's a lot more mechanics involved. There's more ways to get rid of your cards. You have a modular board, so that board will change every time you play, and it's not just as simple as, oh, the top of the board and the bottom of the board. There's going to be more than that to it. So I want to talk about all the things that have changed. Now, you can't just run for your artifacts. Before you can go get an artifact, you have to drop, each player will have 2 translucent cubes that are not their Clank cubes. Now, they have to place these translucent cubes in separate mods of the board. Now, some of these areas where you are able to drop these translucent cubes are going to be good. They will give you, credits or gold, as in the normal Clank, or they could be bad and they could give you Clank. So the areas that are good are going to give you a positive, are going to be harder to get to than the areas that give you Clank. So it's sort of a balancing act right there, how far you want to go to drop the cubes. Now, another thing is you're not going to have a backpack that allows you to gain multiple artifacts, which is a little neat, I thought. There are portals that if you pick up the certain piece from the marketplace, you can jump from portal to portal on the board without having to walk all the way there or move all the way there, which is kind of neat. There's also this, I forget what they call it, but I don't have a copy of the game. I have a friend that bought it at GenCon and I was able to play it. I'm absolutely going to buy this game when it comes out in retail though. But there's a little like hyperdrive track, maybe they call it, and you can take that and zoom from side to side of the board. But if the monster gets too angry, there's certain spots on that track that shut down, and now you have to go around it before you can get out and use it. So it's also really neat that not everybody is going to be escaping in the same place. Once you have your artifact and you're trying to escape, there's going to be these escape pods, and I believe that there's 4 of them. And once somebody gets in an escape pod and leaves, that escape pod is shut down. You can't go to that spot and leave anymore. You have to go to a different one. So if there's multiple people trying to get out in that same spot on the board, in that same escape pod, and one guy gets there first, well, time for you to come back around and try to find a different escape pod. So that's really neat. So I guess for me, all of that is why I like this game more. It just adds a lot more mechanics. I think the cards are a lot better that you're drafting or that you're buying and building your deck with. So the actual deck building aspect of it is better to me. The board play is better to me. The only thing that could be a downside is that, and this might have been because we were playing with 4 people and pretty much we were all learning it, but it ran a little longer than we would have liked it to, which is an odd complaint when the first Clank, I wanted it to run a little long. Well, no, I guess I didn't want the first one to run a little longer. I wanted the first one shorter. But this one ran a little long, so it's sort of just this weird complaint that I'm having with it. But I think after a couple plays, it wouldn't do that. I think that you could cut this game down to a pretty solid time. So, you know, if you guys like Clank and you're more of a gamer's gamer, I would highly suggest checking out Clank in Space. As soon as I played it, I knew that the original Clank would probably not get a whole lot of table time for me. Some people are going to like the original Clank better, and that's completely cool. I just don't think that both of them would get a ton of table time for me, and In Space for me was just so much more mechanically better. So I guess a couple of things that I didn't like maybe were the theme. I think fits a lot better when you're going into a dungeon and trying to gain gold or steal gold from a dragon and get out of his lair. I thought that fit a lot better with the mechanics than just being on a spaceship and having a monster in there. And that didn't really, the theme didn't really fit as tight with me in that aspect. But the cards are better. The art obviously is gorgeous. There's just so much about this game to love that, you know, these are just minor quibbles. So I highly suggest everybody goes and checks out Clank in Space when it comes out in retail, if you haven't already picked it up at GenCon or something. So yeah, tell me what you guys think. Hit the little red subscribe button, like me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and I'll check you back here next time. Thanks.